everybody. I am so excited about our sponsor for this month, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It's the Gillot Home Team and Laura Gillot. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm doing wonderful.
That is so awesome. You know, the Gillot Home Team is doing so much in real estate. Give us a snapshot of what you're up to.
Awesome. Well, last year we were able to help 551 families either buy or sell real estate. We love our community. We love our clients. Our mission is to deliver the keys to home ownership through stellar customer service, integrity, and joy. And we're looking to help even more folks this year.
That is so awesome. You know, if you want a team that is there for you, it's the Gillot Home Team and Laura Gillot. And thanks so much, Laura, for your sponsorship. Good morning. Hey. Welcome. I am broadcasting live this morning from the Gillot Home Team. Oops, that side. There you go. Gillot Home Team in their front office. And I'm so excited. They are such an outstanding sponsor and such wonderful people. So I'm just thankful and be able to do this live today. It's kind of fun, right, Scott?
You know, it's just, the sun I see is just coming up. It's just getting light there. So it's great for the team to be there for supporting, first of all, for supporting the experience. Sure, appreciate that. And then for coming in and opening the office so you can broadcast there instead of from that secret bunker 5 miles below the earth that you usually are in.
That's it. Well, I tell you, yes, I am deep within a bunker normally, but yes, you know, what I love most is being able to get out and see real people. I was talking to Mindy and Aaron here this morning, two of the great team members, and I was just telling them that I just love being out because I can actually talk to real people. It's great virtually, but it's even better in person.
Boy, that is true. And you've got, and in fact, you've got more face-to-face meetings today there, don't you? In the area. I go right from this to other people that I'm working with and sponsors. And there's Mindy watching and commenting this morning from the Gillot Home Team. She is so awesome. So appreciate that. But anyway, it's going to be a great morning. Yeah, well, I'm excited. In a couple of weeks, as we move into April, I'm going to be on the road, and so I may be doing some live broadcasting from either Alabama or Tennessee, as I'll be on the road.
There you go. Well, I think you should call ahead and make sure they're a sponsor so we get them going. So, hey, listen, I'm so excited to bring in our first guest. We're just going to bring Gail in because she is awesome. She has so much energy. And then after that, we're going to bring in Dr. Andy. But let's start with Gail this morning. There she is live.
Live!
Hey.
How you doing, Gail?
I'm great. How are you? The sun is shining. It's gorgeous here. It's going to be up like summer weather. You know, I'm in Canada, and a lot of people think, oh, Canada, it's always cold. And actually on the same latitude as, I think that's the right term, as Northern California. So we have great weather here. It's the place to be.
Well, that's awesome. Our weather here, as you can see, the sun is rising, but it was raining on me when I came down this morning. So I'm not sure what the day holds, but you know what? It's all right. Oregon is nice and green. We'll take our rain, right, Scott?
It was a beautiful day yesterday. My son and I went out and played on the par 3 golf course. We just had a beautiful afternoon out.
That's so awesome. Well, hey, Gail,
daffodils are up, trees are blooming and blossoming. So,
and I like rain. Actually, I think rainy days means it's time to, get some other things done inside. And so I always said, you know what? What's the weather like? The weather is the weather. Just go with the flow.
Indeed.
I couldn't agree more. We love our rain because it keeps us green. So, hey, Gail, let's just start off. You tell us a little bit more about you and what you've got going on this morning.
Okay, so so my name is Gail Robertson, and my company is Gail Now. But I'm really do a lot of work recently in manufacturing. So that's been my new niche that I've really been delving into, and just loving it. And I think that's one of those surprises in life. Sometimes you don't know where the next turn will be. So my turn has been in manufacturing. And I'm on about my 5th career now. So I started out as a journalist. So that was where I got my initial training in media, and I worked in print media, in newspaper. Then from there, I took a little detour and ran a bed and breakfast on an island. Then after that, I came back to the mainland and was a fundraiser at a culture and recreation complex for $1 million fundraising campaign. That was a great experience. Then from there, I met someone that was on our campaign cabinet, and he hired me at a company where I stayed for almost 11 years as a marketing manager. And then I now have my own business and have worked with in nonprofit in the mental health area. And because of some other connections I made, got into manufacturing and mold making. And now I know this sounds strange, but I actually really am fascinated by the whole world of supply chain and how, as we started saying, we make things, So kind of reminds me of like in farming and agriculture, we just, our food doesn't just magically appear in those nice, pretty containers. And the same thing when we're looking at plastic items, medical devices, hospital beds, all of these essential items, all came about because of mold makers and people that make cutting tools. So, yay!
Well, that's when we went through the great toilet paper shortage, right, and other things.
Yeah,
it just showed how fragile that supply chain can be. And I managed supply chain operations for Hewlett Packard for 7 years for 2 sites, and you learn a lot of stuff. While I was doing that, we had 9/11 happen. And I remember that morning and going in and calling my team together and trying to figure out what was going to go on, because no airline traffic for one. And another thing, anyway, you're a fascinating girl.
Well, you said it best too, Scott, in terms of, and this ties into my whole, area of curiosity, because I'm always like wondering, I ask why. Why is that? What's happening? And right now we're in another issue with some border restrictions in manufacturing. So I've been more involved from an advocacy perspective, because the essential workers in manufacturing, they're prevented from, having the same open access at the border, and midst of trying to educate around what is it that, why are these people essential workers? And they don't have to cross every day like other essential workers, but they do need to, get across somewhat regular, like from an engineering and senior executive perspective. So it's kind of exciting to be, be in the midst of some real advocacy work right now. And it's kind of a hot topic. And because of my background in media, we're doing a lot of, advocating, to put it nicely.
Well, that is, you are just a great person, and you are perfect for that. I'm just still wondering why you gave up the bed and breakfast on an island, but that's a discussion for another time. Speaking of people doing great things, we're going to bring in Dr. Andy. He is sitting there ready to go. I see a big smile on his face. There he is. Hello, Andy.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm enjoying listening to everything going on.
Yes. Well, we're enjoying having you here with us. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing great. I had a little bit of an issue coming in this morning. There was the 2 exits that was blocked. So I was sitting in traffic, doing my best to practice my meditations and things like that to stay calm, but very happy right now to be situated and here with you guys.
Well, that's so great. We're just glad you're here. We knew you would make it. And you and I had a fabulous chat yesterday. What a great person you are. I mean, I was so excited to get to know you a little bit, but everybody listening this morning, a lot of people don't know a lot about you. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world.
Sure. So my name is Dr. Garrett. I have a private practice here in the Newport Beach area. Where I'm really focused on is helping people to set up a foundation, the foundation for all of their success. I think everything starts from really getting clear on your identity. Your identity is what you believe in. It's about yourself. It's how you think about yourself. I think the most important relationship you're going to have and really creating success in life is the relationship you have with yourself. If you don't trust in yourself, you don't believe in yourself, chances are that's going to sabotage your efforts to be successful. And if you don't know what's most important to you, then you often end up pursuing things and building success on a foundation that's really insecure. So by helping people understand what's most important to them, what is their purpose, what is the impact they want to have on the people and causes they care about most, what motivates them, what are the things that really bring out for them to be and do their very best. And when people get clear on that, it's just really amazing how suddenly the way they show up with radical clarity, with a sense of real commitment. I think when you have a secure base underneath you, it frees you up to really be your most expansive self. Where all of a sudden you can be more generous, you're more accepting, you'll take more risks. All the things that I think people often want to achieve, but they often do it in a backwards way, right? They start focusing on setting really big goals, or they think they need to just be held accountable. But if that base, that foundation isn't under you securely, I think all of those things are just going to likely be insufficient or unsustainable unless that base is really secure. So that's what I help people do.
Yesterday, you and I talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about foundation and a lot about purpose. And really, we have a real similar mindset, which made me feel good because, wow, if I could be thinking like Dr. Andy, I'm in good shape.
Well, in full disclosure, Andy and I are in the same mastermind group, Iron Sharpens Iron, for about the last 2 years, as I've been there, coming up on 2 years. And sometimes people put together courses because they have this material and, they want to make money on it. But I can guarantee you that after having spent 2 years every week with Andy, that everything he's talking about, when he's talking about this authentic life and be who he lives it out and really brings it to example. So through his life. So there's a benefit for me to be able to hang out with him, but I can tell you what he's talking about is real.
You guys are making me blush. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I could tell that yesterday, just in our initial conversation. And, that's something I love about you too, Gail. Very authentic. I love your energy. We've already been getting comments this morning about your energy, but I mean, when you're showing up with the clients and people you're working with, it's important to be really who you are and really be driving with example.
And, often I hear, because I'm very active on social media, especially Twitter, and sometimes people will say, oh, it's so negative. And I go, it's as in life. Like if you hang around with that type of energy, you will attract more. So I find on my social media and reading Dr. Andy's LinkedIn, great. I love your LinkedIn, the content, because when people are sharing like that and they share what they're doing and what's important to them, it does have impact. And like I said, when I'm out on social media, it's about, I learn from other people all the time. And I'm always trying to share what other people are doing because the more that we can encourage, even like this show for you guys, we need more stories being told of positivity and like Andy said, that, building that strong foundation, because if you're only looking at, how much money you can make, and if that's your goal, if you set goals according to money, reminds me of something my mom once said. If you marry for money, you'll earn every penny and it'll be a hard so I always think that with whatever we do, if you look at doing things you love, that you have a great passion for, it's amazing. And it is something that, Russ, you said why I didn't have the B&B anymore is that, sometimes things run its course and sometimes you have to recognize when it's time to move on and do something else. And like I said, I'm on 5th career. And I said, I really should have been a millennial. I know you think I am, but I'm not.
You're not a millennial now, you tell us.
Well, that's, it's so true that, what your mother said. When I give talks, I often am with a slide that says, it's not about making money. It's about living a life that makes a difference. And those are the people I get to choose to hang around with. Jim Rohn says you are, the consultant, Jim Rohn says you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And Gail, I love to introduce you by saying some people look at the glass half empty. Some people look at the glass half full, and Gail says, hey, can I top that off for you?
Thank you. That's great. And that whole connection, I want to do a shout out specifically to Elizabeth Hernandez, who I met through networking. And she is someone who lives and breathes that whole idea of positivity. And she's always someone, if I start to go down a road of negative, that I know I can reach out to her. And we need those people in our lives sometimes to just kind of, remind us, and I always say, none of us, I'm not perfect. I have moments. My issue is patience. I am not, that's my goal. I think that was my word this year, but I think I've kind of like set it aside. Oh yeah, patience. But I always remember patience, Gail, breathe.
Well, one thing that I think that's so important, and Andy, you can comment on this too, and that is we're talking authenticity. We're talking about really, purpose. And I think if you're not living your passion and your purpose, like Gail says, if you're not doing what you really want to do and what you're really going after, people are going to see that. You're not going to be authentic because you're trying to live someone else's life. You're not living your life. And so I think that's a big part of authenticity.
Yeah. In my course, I talk about the symptoms of inauthenticity. And so I think you feel, right, when you are out of alignment, whether that be that you're feeling apathetic, whether you're feeling guilt, regret, whatever it might be. I think those are indicators internally that you're off course. Unfortunately, I think that we often numb those. We don't pay attention to them. They don't feel good. So we just want them to go away. And whatever we resist, we tend to amplify. And so, I think the more that people can see these feelings as a gift, and trust me, they don't feel like a gift all the time. I get that. But they often are telling you where that there's something you can learn, there's an area you can grow at. And if you really are open to receiving the message about, what is this anxiety telling me? What is this fear telling me? What can I learn and grow? For their character strength I can develop by doing this. And as I learn my lesson and grow my character strength, there's some way I can use that to serve other people. And suddenly you can use your painful feelings and experiences as a really powerful way to use them as fuel for meaningful growth and purpose.
Well, it's just reality that we all have struggles, that we all go through ups and downs, right? So can you really be authentic if you're always, this is one thing that I've struggled with, because I am an upbeat person and I have this feeling that if I don't feel it, I still have to be that way. But a lot of times people just want to know, hey, I'm having a rough day. It's tough today. And that just happens. I still feel good about life. I still feel good about myself. But today I feel kind of crummy about the day, and that's just the way life goes.
That's right. Yeah.
It's so empowering, I think, to acknowledge it too. Yeah. For you and other people.
Yes, I think so. Gail, you were going to say something?
Well, yeah, one of the things that I find is helpful too is that I call it my wallow pit. So say something happens, and it's usually in the evening, you start to have that wallow. So I allow myself to someone once gave me this as a tip. It's like, just wallow, sit in your wallow pit. And I say that sometimes, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to feel sorry for myself for 2 hours tonight. And then I'm going to go to bed, and tomorrow's a new day. And you know what? It's amazing when you allow that to just get out and say, and I'm the same, Russ. When people think like, if ever I'm not like smiling or everything's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you know what? I'm recharging right now. I'm plugged in or recharging or unplugged. Right. So, I think it's really important that, as much as, I'm upbeat and like to always see that, what's the flip side? How can we turn around and look at this? And, it's not every day's like that. I have my moments too, but it's that journey we're on. And, I know Nick Cruin, who posted that, I filled 2 glasses. Now, Nick and I always like to say, like, I met him many years ago. We were fellow journalists. So, it's interesting. Now he works for me doing writing. So, that whole idea of connecting and reconnecting and building other people up too. So, he's someone I like to build up. So,
yeah, I think we all feel the need to be the person that people think we are, no matter how authentic we really are. I mean, like I said, if I'm not really feeling it, I have this, I grew up doing, singing, dancing, drama, all that stuff. So I was always like, the show must go on, right? If you don't feel it, you still go for it. And, you find out that it's okay to let people know how you're feeling, because people really, if you're always that way, people think I could never be that way.
Yeah.
People that I could never attain that because I'm never that way. But the truth is we're not always that way. So I think that's really cool about what you're doing, Andy, too, talking to people, really getting down to the core of what they're all about and their feelings. I think that's just so important.
Thank you. It's funny. I had a phone call the other day with a mutual friend of Scott and I, and I was just having a rough day. I had several things, like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And so I called up and was like, hey, it's tough and I'm struggling and I'm trying to go back to my core values and I'm trying to really reset, but I just needed to talk with someone. And my friend just started laughing. And I was like, all right, this isn't the most empathic response I was expecting. And he said, can I be honest with you? It's nice to know that you're human, and it's just nice because I was having a really bad day too. And this just cheers me up. And so, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, it gives other people permission too, sometimes to acknowledge their struggles. And then when you acknowledge them, they're easier to kind of pass through and to work through.
I was thinking about Gail with the manufacturing industry. And one of the things that you would look at, like the performance of a mold, you have this control chart. And so there's time on the horizontal and the vertical. You're going to have some sort of a measurement. And you're going to have like this control band where, is it too high, too low, but is it within that tolerance level, right? This control band. And our emotions can be that way too. Generally, you can be this optimistic person and you can be really happy, kind of over the top. But you can also have those days where you sink below. But on the average, you're kind of in there. And one of the greatest compliments that I've ever had is when you connect up with people on social media through Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever that is, and then you get to see them face to face, like Andy. When we were on family vacation, we were down there, so we made a point to head out to Fashion Island to where his office is at and spend time. But when I've met people and they say, wow, you were the same person in person as you were online. To me, that is just a huge compliment. Yeah.
No, I would agree with you 100% because, and Andy, Gail, both, you can comment on this too. And that is, when we are working with people, if we want them to respond and really want to have that connection and work with us, and I'm all about connection, if they get a sense right off the bat, if we're not the person we are, you can see when someone's pushing it. And there's days we all do that. I mean, there's days I feel like I'm pushing it, and I've got this rule. If I'm out doing things and I just feel like it's not happening, I just call it and I pull away and give myself a little me time and a little rest time, because sometimes you're just trying to force the issue. And I think that's a good signal that maybe you shouldn't be forcing the issue.
Groundhog Day.
And, Russ, that's very true in terms of, not pushing yourself. And then in the manufacturing world, one of the areas that I'm working with, especially with the salespeople, is maybe not pushing themselves enough, because I talk to them and some of the salespeople, and they're amazing. They have these amazing stories, but they're reluctant to step out. And another thing I learned from someone that this had tremendous impact for me is that own your power. When you can own your power and be able to share that, and there's so much great information out there. And Russ, you do it well. Scott, you do it well. Andy, everybody here, I think, is sharing it. And if more people could share their knowledge and share their experiences, and it doesn't always have to be perfect. In fact, I often, when I'm coaching people with social media, as I said, don't be perfect. In fact, that's not what we're looking for. And so what I sometimes do is when I'm doing my video clips with people on Zoom, like I'll just hit record as I'm talking to them, because that's when I get the best clips, when they're just natural. So people want to see, like Andy, that's a great story that you shared, because I think we need to see that our leaders and people that are coaches and counselors are real people. And I have the most respect, and I've actually went, wow, I want to work with someone who is willing to share something like that and say, hey, I have, this is what happens to me. Because then I know, okay, if it happens to you, like I poke you, you're a real person.
Yeah, I think there's such a hunger, such a thirst out there for authenticity right now. was talking with a good friend of mine the other day. He was on a long drive, and he had his 18-year-old son with him, and somehow it got into about, I think, teachers and teachers who genuinely care about what they do, and how you can really tell when a teacher cares versus when they're just collecting a paycheck. And so that moved into a discussion on authenticity. It was an interesting question. The kid, that this young man posed, but how do you achieve authenticity? It's great to talk about it, but how do you actually, is there some way to practice it? And I think the things that we're talking about here is right, just being honest, being open. But I think also anchoring yourself to some deep truths and convictions, knowing that there are at least a few things in your life that you can have real deep certainty about. These are core values that I know are just absolutely essential, right? They're so true to who I am and what motivates me, what gives my life meaning. And when you can anchor yourself consistently to those deep truths and convictions, it's amazing how that helps to create kind of that strong foundation that allows you then to deal with all the uncertainty of which we just have no control over, or that we can't answer. So I think it's important to know both ends, right? To certainly acknowledge the imperfections, but also to acknowledge the things about you that are strong, your greatest strengths, your deepest truths. So I love the point that you were making there, Gail. At least that was my interpretation of some of what you're saying there.
Yeah,
I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think those are words well said and a good way. I'm the one, sorry guys, that has to wrap things up. I want people want to know more about you guys, and we're going to have to do a second one of these with you two. But for today, we're wrapping up. So Andy, let's start with you. Tell people, how do they get in touch with you so they can work with you and learn more about you? And then we'll go to Gail.
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's ag-thrive.com, or I can also send you guys a link that gives you a little more information about specifically the program, the course that I created, and what you can do to get either information on that, or even if you want to jump on a call and see if it might be a good fit for you. So
perfect. Gail.
Okay, well, I am pretty much on most social media as Gail Now. So my website is gailnow.com. On Twitter is where you'll see me the most active. On Instagram, I'm Gail Now 1, because someone asked Gail Now, which is, my son always, his friends tease me about this. They call me Gail Now 1. LinkedIn, there's Gail Robertson as well as Gail Now, but mostly Gail Robertson on LinkedIn. And YouTube is an area that I'm just going to be, 2021 is my year to focus on YouTube. So I do have my YouTube channel, and I am planning on, after my show yesterday with Jim Fuse, was my show producer for a manufacturing event. So we title is Gail Now Live, so that's going to be, for now, that's my working title. So on YouTube.
Well, you'll love it.
I think of course, I have TikTok. I don't use much.
In our credits, that Jim Fuse was our one of our technical advisors to be able to create the experience live with Russ and Scott. So we're extremely grateful. And I'll just throw out a shout out. We do have a live webinar on a live class from Jim Fuse this Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And you can go to globalteabreak.com to find the link and register. But that's coming up. And so if you want to learn live video from Jim directly, Jim Fuse.
The one and the only.
Coming up.
Fusion marketing. Yes, he's the best. He is amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we are so blessed to have people like Jim and like Alan Hennessy who really helped us out. But yeah, listen, I'll make sure we'll link to all of your information in the show notes so that people can directly click on that and link to you guys. Appreciate both of you so much. And I'm going to send you out to the green room again, but hang tight for a few moments as we close things up. Thank you so much again for being here today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Gail.
Likewise. Thanks.
All right, Scott, man, another show just zips on by.
Yeah, the time goes, it goes too fast, but I tell you, here on the Pacific Coast, 7 a.m., I know it's early for some folks, but I can't think of a better way to start a Wednesday morning than spending time with you, Russ. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the work that you do to make the experience live. Thank you to the Jalot team for hosting and sponsoring. But wow, thank you to Gail and Andy. What a fabulous morning with them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, Gail and I clicked, and Andy and I, when right off the bat, when we started talking, and that's what I just love people like that they are so authentic, and that's what I love about them. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Don't forget, every Wednesday, like Scott said, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We're here for you. So we hope to see you soon again. Next Wednesday, we'll be on with some more amazing guests. And until then, have a great day and a great life. We'll see you.
Enjoy the experience.